morning, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to everyone here and those that are not here, but being there on Zoom. So we're live streaming this morning to people around Australia, I think even in New Zealand as well. So a wonderful opportunity for us to take some time to practice some meditation. I'd like to begin with a short Buddhist chant. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang dhammang sanghang namasami. That's paying homage to the Buddha, his teachings, and those that have practiced the teachings well, becoming fully enlightened. And certainly, in a way, our day is because of what the Buddha realized 2,500 years ago. And in keeping up with tradition, practicing meditation, living in a wholesome way, and realizing truth. And so today's an opportunity for that, both here and also when you leave here. When you leave here, the real training begins. That's being at home, being away from this supportive environment, where we get to practice what we've been engaging upon, learning upon in our retreat sessions. And particularly this retreat, as the previous one, in the context of what is called Vassa Retreat period. So for those that weren't here last time, the Vassa Retreat is a 3-month period designated by the Buddha 2,500 years ago for monks and nuns particularly to be on retreat and focus more on their practice, developing, deepening, defining, refining meditation, studying spiritual teachings for the purpose of realizing truth, realizing freedom, realizing the highest happiness, psycho-spiritual happiness. So this, I would say, is probably one of the longest retreats that's been happening in the history of humanity. So it's been going on now for nearly 2,600 years every year. And so for the last number of years, I've had arranged a Vassa retreat, non-residential. So with 4 Sunday meditation days. And but at the same time, keeping a sense of being more mindful, more conscious, more aware over the 3-month or 12-week period, which is a great block of time for developing some good habits, maybe some new habits, and disengaging from some old habits that maybe aren't so healthy or skillful. So 12 weeks is a good time to create some habit change that then can flow on into the rest of the year, even into the next year, until the next Vassa retreat. So it's from the full moon of July to the full moon of October. And it happens that today, Sunday, is a full moon. Though we may not see much of it tonight because of the clouds that are around, but full moon. And generally, most of the auspicious or special days in Buddhism occur on a full moon. It means that it's lighter at night, usually. And so if you want to stay up all night meditating, it's a lot easier. So today, this being the second of our Vassa retreat days, so we have 4 of them over the 3-month period. And for the theme of the retreat, I usually give it a theme each year. The theme for this Vassa retreat is developing the 10 spiritual virtues, the Paramita. Paramita, para means great, like paramount, and mita is from the word friend or friendliness. So the Paramita are our spiritual friends. They can help support us in dealing with the challenges, the realities, the happenings, the ups and downs, the let's say the vicissitudes of life. So we want to call upon them and have them with us, these spiritual virtues, spiritual friends. And so over the 12 weeks, we're looking into what those 10 are. We've already looked at the first 3, dana, sila, and Nekama being generosity, morality, and renunciation. Renunciation or relinquishment or letting go or a sense of being able to live more simply. And this morning, we'll be looking into the next three, those being, as we've got up on the board there, Pannya, Viriya, Khanti, Pannya being wisdom, Viriya being energy, and Khanti being patience. So again, helpful qualities that we all have to some degree, but it's about reminding ourselves of them and then using them. So these qualities strengthen and develop by their application. As a bit of just a reminder from our last session, important to have the right attitude, the right view, the right appreciation or approach in how we understand and use the paramita, these spiritual virtues. And one way, I mentioned three ways last time, one way is to see that they are opportunities to make life meaningful or even making the moment meaningful, especially moments or situations that are difficult, challenging. Why do I have to go through this? This is difficult. This is boring. I don't want to have to do this, deal with this, sit with this, be with this person maybe. So it becomes an opportunity to make the situation, the circumstance, the moment meaningful by seeing, opportunity for me to develop, engage and develop and use one or a number of these spiritual virtues. And so, especially if you know what the list of 10 is, it's like, okay, I need to resource some patience, resource some kindness, resource some maybe letting go of what I otherwise wanted to be doing. And so in this, we turn the situation from being maybe a blight, why do I have to deal with this? It's a waste of my time and my energy, into even a blessing. Or maybe even from a situation which is woeful, horrible, woeful, to actually, I can work with this. So it's workable and even maybe wonderful. So woeful to workable to wonderful. And especially because we're developing these wonderful qualities, using them to help us not get caught up in clinging or condemning, reacting or resisting, denying or distracting, those psychological defense mechanisms that we easily get caught into. So clinging onto the good things, things that we like. I want more of this. I don't want to do that. Clinging, condemning, pushing away, reacting or resisting, denying it's not happening, or distracting from it. So being able to accommodate the situation and make some worth of it. And second way in which we can see that these are important to engage. So second perspective is what I call the ecology of experience. So, we talk about the importance of ecology, the environment, conservation, preservation, recycling, upcycling even. So what is the most important thing that we have in our life? It's life itself, being alive, even more important than saving plastics and recycling cardboard and paper and so forth. All that's very important, but for ourselves, the most important thing is our life. And what is life? Life is just the experience of time and energy. Our bodies are just energy manifesting through time, emotion, minds, energy manifesting through time. So our whole experience of life is basically time and energy, both limited resources. How much time and energy do we have in our life? Certainly, I know that as this body's getting older, the energy's less. There's less energy available, and also less time available for the future. So we are finite creatures, so that we don't want to waste time and energy. And yet, so much precious time and energy gets caught up being wasted in experience. Like, well, that was a write-off experience, having to go and do that or deal with that or do that again. Write-off, waste of time, waste of energy. Maybe, or maybe not. It's not a waste of time and energy if we're able to go, okay, well, I'm going to resource these qualities, develop these qualities, these strengths, these virtues, these blessings in this situation. My partner Hannah loves to go to Bunnings, pilgrimage to Bunnings, and buying plants. And I don't mind going to Bunnings, buying a few plants, but um, generally the way my mind works is like, okay, I will go to a shop if I need to. If I know I need to get something. And yes, my partner, she needs generally often needs something, but it's about having a look at the whole shop, every aisle, not just it's in aisle three, it's in aisle five, we go and get it, get a plant that you want and come home. It's like, no, got to look at all the plants. So I spend most of the time in Bunnings just holding onto the shopping trolley, those beach shopping trolleys, and just waiting and just looking at people and smiling and but I see it as I'm developing patience and I'm being generous with my time and my energy. I know that she likes to look at everything and like, oh, that could be handy, or we might need one of those one day, or this stuff, just what I was thinking about, get one of those too. And so in a way, we both get fed. A partner has the joy of getting some things and more plants, and I get the joy of developing these spiritual virtues as well. And that certainly helps in the context of relationship. Often in my capacity as a psychologist, I talk to people about the importance of even using your relationship to develop these spiritual virtues because you won't find the perfect partner. You won't, and you're probably not a perfect partner either. But the perfect relationship is one where people are perfectly okay with developing and using the challenge of relationship for growing themselves, developing these virtues, as opposed to the opposite, becoming more impatient and more frustrated and more reactive, etc. So relationship becomes an environment for growing these qualities. So this is where we can then not waste experience. So the ecology of experience, and then even the possibility of um, not just yes, recycling, where we can remember what went on there? Yes, I got upset. I got impatient. I wasn't as helpful as I could have been. Okay, so I'm recycling, reminding that. What would have been a better response? Might have been better if I was a bit more giving or a bit more caring or a bit more whatever. So we can then still develop learning and wisdom by reflecting on what we did, what we didn't do, what we could do. And again, that's recycling and even upcycling experience. There's a lot of learning that we can come by remembering things and going, okay, so what did I learn from that? Nothing. What do I need to learn from that? What could I learn from that? What would I like to learn from that? And so when the situation happens again, like in Groundhog Day, then we get a chance to maybe, oh, yes, I can approach it like this, and I can use this for developing some of the paramita, some of the spiritual virtues. And so there's a great sense of joy in that. In a way, that movie Groundhog Day very much exemplifies um, these qualities. Where everyone remember the movie Groundhog Day? Where the reporter has to go to that sort of once a year Groundhog Day, where they a little groundhog. Um, they sort of what the groundhog does determines something about the weather or whether that's going to be I forget it's a first day of spring or something like that. And this guy Bill Murray goes and he's a bit of a cantankerous, unpleasant person and has to be there for a number of days and finds that he's caught in this particular day. Every morning he wakes up, on it's Groundhog Day again. Why am I here? Why am I stuck in this day? And generally he takes advantage of it. I'm just going to eat what I want and do what I want. And because I'll just wake up, it'll be the next day and no one's going to remember what I did yesterday. Indulgence, but he finds he's ends up being really unhappy. And so he goes, okay, well, I'm going to use this day to be helpful and be supportive and be generous and be kind and be considerate and do the right thing. And so he does that and changes his character. And once he's perfected many of these qualities, he wakes up with the woman that he wanted to wake up with, and it's not Groundhog Day again. He can get on with the rest of his life. So, how much of our days are like Groundhog Day? Here we go again, back to work on a Monday morning, or, we've got to go and do this or do that with those people, or got to go and do the banking, and got to go and sort of re-register the car or something or other again and again and again and again. But in these repetitive situations, we get a chance to do it better, a bit more patient, a bit more kind, a bit more generous, a bit more sort of supportive. And so that then becomes both the meaning and worth of our life, because more than just what we do, our whole life is just sitting, standing, walking, and lying down, 4 postures, together with some eating, some washings, going to the toilet, working, a bit of pleasure, leisure, but most of it's just ongoing activities like that we do until we can't do them anymore. But the worth of our life is the qualities that we develop that makes life easier, more ease, more joy, more peace of mind, more contentment. So, and in many ways, that's the Buddhist path of practice. Use your life as an opportunity, as an avenue to grow your psycho-spiritual awareness, your consciousness, so that you're developing these spiritual virtues and becoming a better person for oneself and for others. And this becomes the third way of appreciating or using these, that by using these qualities, then we're not using the opposite of them. The opposite of them are negative qualities, not very good, not very nice. And by using them, we're developing them, and to the point that this becomes our modus operandi, our way of operating, interfacing, relating to experience is through these 10 virtues, not their opposites. They become who and what we are. They become how we are. So if someone was describing us and they go, oh, well, very generous, very moral, able to sort of live simply, let go of things, very wise, very energized, very patient, and so forth, so that these become our qualities, our character traits. And that's a life well lived. That's a wonderful way to be. And also, not just for ourselves, because it certainly makes our life a lot less stressed. Most of our stress comes from engaging in the opposite of these, but we become an example to others. So a great gift to the people that we connect with, our partners, family members, children, parents, relatives, so family members, friends, community, society, the world at large. The world, certainly turn on any news program, the world needs more people practicing and engaging and living from the paramita. Most of the issues that we see on the news in the world are because people are not practicing these things, or people are not practicing them and causing suffering for other people. So we get a chance to embody these qualities and live in a very sort of wholesome, skillful way, joy for ourselves, joy for others. So the paramita become a wonderful practice, sort of like the perfect practice. It's beyond any sort of belief, like don't believe me, try it for yourself. This is not a belief, it's practical application of skillful qualities that can help to enhance the well-being and worth of your life and the well-being and worth of other people's lives. And one doesn't need to be a Buddhist to appreciate that. It's wisdom. It's a practical application. It's just plain to see and understand. And so that this becomes a great opportunity, and not just in meditation, not just on a retreat, not just in the context of a Vassa retreat period, but in mainstream day-to-day life for the rest of our life. So all these qualities, they enhance the possibility in the practice of meditation. Meditation is much easier when we're engaging these qualities. And also, these are qualities that lead to full, complete spiritual enlightenment. So that the highest happiness, full, complete psycho-spiritual enlightenment, these qualities support and develop that. The Buddha developed these qualities over, it's said, over successive sort of ongoing lifetimes, countless lifetimes, to the point of perfection. Another word for these paramita are perfections. So perfecting the quality of generosity, perfecting the quality of morality, perfecting the quality of renunciation or relinquishment. But one doesn't need to perfect them to the nth degree for wisdom and enlightenment. They just need to be developed enough to support the mind, speech, and body in living in a wholesome, skillful way. But some people may be already, highly developed in certain ones of these. So that's where it's good to know that for oneself. Okay, I'm highly developed in this particular quality, therefore I might need to develop that particular quality. And again, over the 3-month period, we get a chance to engage these and knowing what they are. Okay, I've got that happening on a Thursday, so I'm going to maybe resource some extra energy to help me deal with that, because I usually get tired and worn out and a bit irritable. So extra energy, extra maybe letting go of not wanting to be there, etc. So use your day-to-day life to develop these qualities. Most of you that were here for the first session would have the notes, about 50 pages of notes that I put together as a course. I used to teach it in Sydney as a course. So that if you weren't here last time and don't have those notes, maybe let Pip at the back know, and so we can email you out the notes so that you've got what they are and a bit more information about them as well. And you're quite welcome to take a photograph of the board here as well, or this board, also on the smaller board. The 3 qualities we're looking into today: Pannya, Viriya, and Khanti. So Pannya, wisdom; Viriya, energy; Khanti, patience. And in a way, they go together. So all these qualities interconnect, overlap, and support each other. But wisdom, Pannya, which is translated as wisdom or understanding, a key quality for us to have. I think one of the marks of a human being is to be wise, engaging wisdom. So we can say, what is wisdom? What is wisdom? It's more than information. It's easy these days to get information. You can use one of these little devices and we can get lots of information, look up Wikipedia and information, even learn the information so it becomes our knowledge. But wisdom is something different. Wisdom is something different. And you don't need to be male with grey hair and a beard to be wise, even though it's like, oh, that's for a stereotype, the wise men, the old wise men. No, not at all. Wisdom is something that transcends gender, transcends age, transcends time, even transcendental wisdom is something which is timeless. That's why these things that I'm talking about this morning, the Buddha's wisdom, it's 2,500 years old, but still applicable, applicable today in the 21st century, as it was between the 6th and 5th century BC when the Buddha was alive. So transcendental wisdom, transpersonal wisdom. There's worldly wisdom, which might be about how to engage the world and financially and so forth, worldly wisdom, fine. But this sort of wisdom is more perennial wisdom. Wisdom that transcends time and place and culture and custom and gender and age and so forth. That's really worthwhile. And in this sense, the wisdom is applied knowledge, applied understanding, that we use it, and wisdom develops further by using it. The more you use wisdom, the more it develops and becomes a quality and a way of seeing and being and relating to the world of experience. And certainly we could say that a measure of our degree of stress and suffering is in relationship to or correlates to how wise we are. So generally, the wiser the person, the less stress and suffering they have in their life, because they're not sort of just making rash decisions, reacting to things, doing things that are foolish, upsetting other people. Being wise in the thoughts that one has, being wise in how we use speech, being wise in how we use our actions and behaviors, because we can see, an aspect of wisdom is seeing cause and effect. So simple, cause, where there's a cause, there's going to be effect. So if I have a cause that is unwholesome, coming from greed, anger, or ignorance, then the effect or the result is probably going to be not so skillful. It might feel good for 5 minutes, but ultimately not so helpful. So that if I have a behavior and action that comes from the opposite of greed, anger, or ignorance, the three ills, generosity, kindness, and wisdom, then my thought, my speech, my action that's coming from kindness, generosity, wisdom is going to lead to generally a good result for myself and for others, now or at some other time. So that becomes something that's important to appreciate, that seeing cause and effect and learning from our own experience of cause and effect. When I did that, what was my intention? Where was I coming from? What was the result? Was that pleasant or unpleasant, helpful, unhelpful, worthwhile, not worthwhile? How did it affect me? How did it affect others? So we're starting to see and learn, okay, what would have been better if I said this or did that? And so we can then even use contemplation to develop wisdom. Wisdom's, again, a wonderful quality to have to engage in our life. And I think probably at this time, more than any other time in the history of our humanity, we need to emphasize wisdom, because in many ways we're probably losing or even not having to use much intellect or information, because AI is already taking over a lot of that. But AI, artificial intelligence, may not be that wise. But wisdom is something more like the percolation of experience and understanding, intuition, sensing, feeling. So it's like IQ plus EQ equals SQ, spiritual quotient or wisdom. So IQ, information, plus EQ, emotional intelligence, leads to SQ, spiritual quotient or wisdom, as a quality for us to have. Otherwise, what's left of being a human being? If a lot of digitalized stuff and artificial intelligence is taking over a lot of what we do, a lot of what we even do physically is being taken over by various technologies and machines. So yes, the last vestige of being a human being wise, very, very important. Together with wisdom, the next quality is Viriya. So just as a point on Viriya, Viriya translates as energy, but this language is Pali, the ancient Indian language of early Buddhism, Pali, Viriya. So you can see how it relates also to Latin and English language as well. So if we have Viriya means energy, or even virility. We have virility in English, to be virile, to have virility, to even viva, life. So that there's often the Indo-European sort of root words sort of follow through in different languages. And to even apply a lot of these virtues, we need to have a degree of energy. So if we're tired and run down, it's like, it's difficult to sort of be kind or say the right thing or do the right thing when I'm just tired and worn out. So energy is required. So being able to rouse energy and use energy in a skillful way even being aware of our application of energy over the day so that we don't get worn out by the evening. Often mention to people, make sure that when you go home after work, you've saved some energy for your partner, for your family. There's no sort of giving out all the energy at work, and then you go home and you're depleted and can't connect, can't relate, impatient because you're so worn out and tired. So the right use of energy um, over the course of a day, over the course of a week. There's no sort of being worn out by Thursday morning. Still got Thursday and Friday to engage, but totally worn out. And also that a lot of bad habits come out when we're feeling really run down, worn out, tired. So the proper conservation and preservation of our energy is important for our mental, spiritual, even physical health as well. A lot of our physical health runs on the immune system, and if we get run down, worn out, that's when we get sick. So that more susceptible to bugs and viruses and flus and bacterias and even internal bad cells when the immune system is depleted, not enough energy. So that becomes very, very important. There's a term used in addiction counseling, HALTS. So HALTS. It's an acronym for five things that can happen for people, which causes them to get back into their bad habits, their addictive behaviors. So if they're hungry, angry, feeling lonely, tired, or stressed, that's when people tend to get caught into their bad behaviors or habits. It's about being aware of that. Of hungry, even needing some energy because I'm hungry, angry, frustrated, tired, which consumes energy, lonely, maybe feeling isolated, disconnected, tired, yes, tired, spending too much energy, and stressed. That's when people are going to open the fridge and eat what they shouldn't be eating or drinking or whatever it might be. So watch out for the halts: hungry, angry, lonely, tired, stressed. And energy is the key to help guard us against getting caught up in the bad behaviors. Even practicing meditation requires energy. Now we might say, well, generally I'm a mindful person, so sit down for meditation and either lots of distracting thoughts come up because we're not attentive enough, getting just easy into the thinking, wondering, worrying, stressing, planning, and so forth, or into mental dullness. The mind gets dull because less energy, not enough energy, which may even be displayed with the body as well. And the head comes down and sort of even some nodding, some micro sleeping, which might mean, okay, best take a rest and do some meditation then. But sometimes it's just because one isn't engaging energy and using the energy for collecting and focusing the mind in the present moment. Even in that activity of meditation, collect attention, focus attention on the in-breath, on the out-breath, that reduces stress and actually rouses more energy as well. So you can get more energized from meditation practice. But we do need the energy to make the start. And again, just being mindful. Often we make a mistake when we're not mindful because we're tired, run down. Engaging and conserving, preserving energy for the task that's required. So energy as a virtue, it's important to have. And again, the more energy we have, the more we're able to engage all these 10 qualities. Otherwise, because they do require energy as well. As well as certainly the third one for today, which is patience, Khanti. We're often not patient, even though we might be generally a patient, kind person, but our patience may be a bit sort of worn thin if we don't, if we're sort of run down and tired, and then we can easily become impatient, say or do the wrong thing. So patience requires energy as well. But patience is a wonderful virtue to have. when I do relationship counseling with people, I talk about the importance of KPA. So the KPI of relationship is KPA, which is kindness, patience, and appreciation. KPI, key performance index of relationship, how good you are together, how good you're going, is how kind you are with your partner, or could be in a friend relationship or other, how kind you are, how patient you can be, and also A for appreciation or affection. So certainly patience really, really important. And because people often say, why am I so impatient with my partner? I'm patient with other people or at work or friends, but I get impatient with my partner. The one person that I don't want to react to is my partner because I live with them. I don't want them putting some poison mushrooms in my meal because I'm such an impatient person. So that it's about, yes, engage patience. And again, using situations where we might otherwise be impatient. Here we go again. Why do I have to put up with this? To develop patience. A wonderful virtue to have and to develop. It's most applicable and usable in most situations. There's not a situation where patience cannot be helpful. And even being patient with ourselves. Gosh, I hear people sort of getting upset with themselves, like, calling themselves silly names, oh, you're stupid, or why am I so stupid, or why did I do that? And it's like, well, can you be a bit more patient with yourself? Would you be up? Would you? How would you feel if your partner would get upset and swear at you like you do in yourself? I wouldn't like it, but you do it to yourself. Um, doesn't stand to reason. So that treat ourselves as we would like others to treat us, and certainly being patient with ourselves is very, very important. We're more likely to learn and grow in situations if we can be patient. It's like not just children. Children learn if their teachers or parents or friends are patient with them, but also we do as well. The more we get frustrated, irritated with ourselves, that's, the stress response. And stress means cortisol, adrenaline, tension in the body, increased heart rate. Cortisol affects the brain, thinking, clear-mindedness, remembering. So we're going to be less able to deal with situations, learn things, do things, cope with things, get things done if we're getting stressed because of cortisol and adrenaline. So patience is really, really important. I remember I had a client in Sydney and she said, we're talking about patience. She said, yes, I've put a sticker on my computer. And I said, what does it say? And it says fluffy. I said, oh, why is that? She said, oh, well, I would get so impatient with my computer, I'd want to throw it out the window. So I've called it fluffy. And I'm able to be much more kind and patient with fluffy. So these three virtues, it's wise to how we engage wisdom. It's wise how we engage energy. It's wise how we engage patience, and they flow together and work together well. So over this day, our retreat day, at least whilst we're here, half day, but also at home as well, see if you can reflect upon how do I use wisdom? Would people say that I'm a generally wise person? Could I do with developing some more wisdom, understanding things, seeing things more clearly, appreciating cause and effect, seeing where I can engage from kindness, generosity, and wisdom rather than greed, anger, or ignorance, delusion, confusion. But these three qualities rather than the three ills, the Buddha said most stress and suffering comes because people are engaging from greed, anger, or ignorance, ignoring the true nature of things. So seeing how we can engage more from a wiser approach to life, and also seeing how we can be using more energy for mind and for body and for engaging life, and also being more patient with ourselves and with others. So wonderful things to develop. We'll be practicing some meditation. We'll do some sitting meditation. do a walking meditation, do another sitting meditation, and then about 11:30 we'll have a tea break, 20 minutes or so, and then also after that come back in any questions or comments or any concerns that you have, and before we finish up for 12:30. If with the walking meditation, just pacing back and forth, maybe between 10 and 20 paces, half our normal walking pace, being mindful rather than the breath in meditation sitting, but in walking, just being eyes open, looking down about a meter or two ahead, hands in front or behind, having a designated space between two trees or two poles or a certain area, and then just mindfully moving, feeling the movement, the lifting, placing, lifting, placing, lifting, placing, get to the end, stopping, turning, 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 and then walking back again. So half or even less our normal walking pace. You need to be mindful so that you can maintain your balance. And basically we're focusing, being present, not caught up thinking about things. The only thing we might be thinking about or saying would be lifting, placing, lifting, placing, lifting, placing. So collecting and calming the mind in the present moment. And then when we come back in, I'll ring my little chimes, come back in, we'll just go straight into sitting meditation. So we can clock up some many moments of being mindful with sitting, walking, sitting, and see how we go with that. Any quick questions before we get into some meditation? All good. So let's maybe just continue to have a stretch for a minute. We're sitting down for half an hour or so. Stretch. So just establishing a comfortable sitting position. Aligning our body with some degree of symmetry, balance, poise, helping to enable an inner mindful presence. Our eyes gently closed, helping to bring awareness within. And having our initial deep, relaxing, letting go breath. A nice deep breath sends a signal to our brain to release endorphins to soothe the muscles, tendons, tissue of our body. And the outgoing breath is also a psychological symbol of letting go. Letting go. So breathing out, letting go of issues, worries, concerns, that quality of renunciation, letting go. Letting go of issues, worries, concerns, roles, whatever those roles we have might be. Roles come with responsibilities, obligations, duty, stress, and thinking. So even giving our brain, mind a break from the need to be caught up in thoughts about what has been, thoughts about what might be, and just settling into the present moment. Just here, just now, just knowing the present moment. And we can use our breath as our reference point for the present, appreciating that we only feel a breath in the present moment. So mind and body becomes aligned in the present by noticing each individual breath. Just the naturally occurring breath. And before focusing onto the breath, just feeling into our body, all part of setting up our meditation, sensing, feeling our body sitting here. Feeling grounded, settled, centered, present. Noticing a few contact sensations, Feeling our feet connecting with the floor. Feeling our body connecting with the chair, cushion, or meditation stool. Feeling our hands and fingers resting in our lap, sensation of hands and fingers. Relaxing the shoulders, the chest, the abdomen, the belly area. Maintaining our straight sitting posture, but relaxing the shoulders, the chest area, the abdomen, the belly, so the body can breathe itself freely. Feeling that subtle rising, falling, feeling that soothing motion, the rising, falling. And also noticing our face, maybe feeling the cool air against our face. And even perceiving subtle light coming in through our closed eyelids. Even though the eyelids are closed, there's still some light coming in through the closed eyelids, creating the perception of lightness, brightness, color, patterning, or just a blankness. So looking into that lightness, brightness, blankness through the closed eyelids. A forward focused gaze into the space in front through the closed eyelids. Not being distracted or disturbed by any background sounds that we might hear. And particularly also with the internal mental sight or sounds of thoughts. So all thoughts occurring as a mental image that we see, a mental voice that we hear in the mind. So not being attracted and distracted by those, if there are any, but rather choosing to engage some energy, effort to focus attention just onto the naturally occurring sensation of the inflow, outflow of our breath, wherever we feel it the most, and most likely at the nose or nostril area. Feeling the gentle inflow, gentle outflow with each breath. Feeling each breath, looking into the lightness, brightness through the closed eyelids, using one or two mental words in our mind, which is a mantra, with each breath, if that's helpful. Whatever words might seem suitable, such as calm on the in-breath, ease on the out-breath. Calm, ease, calm, ease, calm, ease. Developing focus, attention, collectedness, composure, concentration. Feeling each breath in each present moment. If the mind becomes distracted by thoughts or other things, just noticing that and gently, patiently, kindly returning attention back to the present, back to the breath. Allowing our mind to settle into calm, clarity, peace, and presence. Now, just a few minutes left in our meditation, being extra mindful, feeling, knowing each breath in each present moment, allowing the mind to become calm and still, silent and spacious. Now, just before we end this meditation, inwardly reminding ourselves to try and sustain as much of this calm, mindful awareness, keeping that going on into the ongoing moments, minutes, hours of the day and evening, keeping our mindfulness going. And to end the meditation, just taking a deep breath and slowly opening our eyes to finish. So continuing with our mindfulness in the activity of mindful walking meditation. So please feel free to find a place outside, either side of the house where the grass is. There's a little grass track just down from the house, not on the road that goes up to some neighbors, but across maybe in the car park if you wish. If it does sprinkle rain, then we can just walk in underneath the carport area, another area to walk. If you want to keep sitting meditation or come back in and sit meditation again before we come back together, that's fine. So we'll do 30 minutes, which will bring us back to about 10 past 10 for the more sitting meditation. 10 past 10, 10 past 11. Good. So enjoy some walking. So settling down into our sitting meditation, having changed the posture from walking or standing to sitting, yet engaging the same mental posture as before mindfulness, the mind postured in mindful awareness, attentive knowing, mindfulness of the body sitting, noticing a few touch points, feet connecting with the floor, body connecting with the chair, cushion, or stool, hands resting in the lap, sensing the air against our face, noticing light coming in through the closed eyelids, a few background sounds, not getting caught into thinking about things, but rather using the mind for being aware, calm, conscious, knowing in the present, and particularly connecting with each breath, feeling the inflow, outflow of the breath. Settling into calm, clarity, peace, and presence. Now, just before ending this meditation, inwardly reminding ourselves to try and sustain as much of this calm, mindful awareness, keeping that going on into the ongoing moments, minutes, hours of the day and evening. To end the meditation, just taking a deep breath and slowly opening our eyes to finish. So how do we feel now? Okay. Peaceful. Peaceful. Having done the sitting, walking, sitting meditation, which is a good block of meditative time, and then just noticing how does one feel physically, mentally, emotionally. And if it does feel good, then it's good to remember that, okay, doing this does feel good, part of the motivation for keeping the practice going. And then certainly at times in the day, remembering the feeling, I felt at ease, it felt grounded, it felt calm, it felt clear, it felt peaceful. Often we tend to remember the stressful, difficult, challenging feelings and emotions. So good to remind of the good, positive, pleasant feelings that come from simply sitting and doing nothing. Just breathing, being mindful of an in-breath, an out-breath. I was reading well, actually listening to a audio talk of a monk, a Zen monk, talking about meditation. Japanese, so very Japanese accent, and he said, "Oh, my master told me that meditation, it's good for nothing. It's good for nothing." And he was sort of laughing. If people ask you, why do you do meditation? It's good for nothing. Nothing as in nothing in particular, sort of the emptiness and the fullness of emptiness. So please help yourself to a mindful cup of tea or a mindful cup of coffee or water. Have a bit of a tea break for say about 20 minutes, and then I'll ring the bell to come back in, and we'll have any questions, any comments, anything further reflections, and end up with a short meditation. So please help yourself to some tea. So got about 30 minutes left for our meditation morning. Any particular questions or comments, understandings or insight that you have or that you'd like to share? Brendan?
Yeah, thanks, John. You mentioned earlier that the Buddha had developed the 10 spiritual virtues over multiple lifetimes to the point where he perfected them. And yeah, I was reflecting on the fact that when we die, there's not much we can take with us. We don't take our possessions, relationships, our body, obviously. But I guess that's the one thing that you can take into your next lifetime is you develop these sorts of virtues as part of your character, that can carry over to the next lifetime. Is that correct? Does that seem anything?
Yeah, it's fairly complex in terms of um, next lifetime and what carries over, even just the idea that another life, the next life, and a previous life. But sort of along the lines of okay, there's now, we have today, and can we be 100% sure that there was a yesterday or that there will be a tomorrow? These are just you can't know, you can't sort of say 100% for sure because it could be just a play of the mind. But we do have a sense of yes, there was a yesterday, or at least there was a time that was today that's not now, because it's always only now. And the same way that tomorrow is going to be just another now day. But in terms of what gets carried across, um, sort of like the energetic resonance, the sort of psychic DNA, the the way in which our we've lived our life programs the chip or the SIM card, which then gets put into another body, another life, and so that there is a carryover of energy and information, and I see it more like a degree of resonance that may then manifest as certain qualities, but it's more like the degree of like the wave, the sign of the wave, if it's sort of an unsettled, distressed, distorted life is going to have a wave that's not going to have a very even, soothed type of pattern. But the more our life is lived mindfully, consciously, with these wholesome virtues and qualities, it creates an energetic wave pattern that's going to then express in positive ways in this lifetime and onto whatever is happening next.
So it's not like wrap up all these characteristics and take them over and you pick up where you left off. It's more of a, if I've developed generosity through this lifetime, I may have a resonance of that sort of feeling.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah. Though the Buddha spoke about what is called vasana, is vasana a term that describes underlying traits or qualities, but behind that is more like that energetic resonance or vibrancy that then manifests as certain sort of traits or qualities. But for sure, it's worthwhile considering that what we take, not just say next life, but what we take into tomorrow is the qualities, the energy that we've been creating this day. What we take into next week, next month, next year, the next decade, or lifetime is how we've been living our life now. Which comes back to being mindful, because the thoughts that we have, the states of mind that we have, the feelings, emotions, the mood states that we have, the speech and behaviors, they all create a certain propensity that then flows on into the next moment, minute, hour, day, week, month, year, decade, and so forth. The inner wealth, the wealth within. Pip, up the back.
Sorry,
no, that's fine. Go ahead.
I have a question about Pannya, because I seem to remember it was probably years ago, John, we were talking about compassion, and you were talking about, and I've just got to try and remind me, please, if you could, about compassion with wisdom. So there's like you can feel like you're giving compassion to someone, whereas it's not really wise. There's some sort of things you do, like maybe trying to take over someone's life is a bit helpless, and they get really helpless as a result. It's just, wondering.
So wise compassion, yeah. And in a way, all these qualities, the 10 virtues, including wisdom, it's really helpful if we engage them with wisdom, so that we don't overdo it, so that because it can cause more of a problem. Like, for example, being generosity. It's about being wise in how you use generosity, because otherwise it may be unskillful. Like, giving so much the person feels then dependent on us because they haven't learned to look after themselves, help themselves, fend for themselves, so to speak. And certainly with compassion, that can lead then to compassion fatigue if we don't wisely measure out the compassion. One can have, lots of compassion, but doesn't have to necessarily be displayed into action or activity, because that can be maybe too inappropriate, or unhelpful or unreasonable, or not not correct. So it's about using wisdom in terms of how we use compassion. And particularly, you may remember that even the last virtue, equanimity or peka, which is seen as the sort of one of the highest virtues, and is also the fourth of the four spiritual emotions, the Brahma Vihara, because it's compassion. So equanimity, to be equanimous, to have maintained equilibrium, is compassion balanced or tempered with wisdom. So there's I care, but also my caring is tempered with an understanding of the way things are, in terms of impermanence. Everything changes. This person may be suffering and distressed now, but they weren't 5 minutes ago, and they maybe won't be in 10 minutes. So that's being aware of change, aware of cause and effect, that people may be in situations because of generally cause and effect. What I've done then leads to this illness or this issue or this situation. And also appreciating that stress and suffering are a fact of life, that trying to rescue or save someone from stress and suffering, it may be an endless task, because stress and suffering is a part of life. And obviously we can learn a lot from stress and suffering. Most of these virtues are used when we or someone else is in a state of unease or stress or suffering. So we bring in the virtue, and it sort of helps to relieve to some degree. And also the wisdom side, to balance the compassion, is to see, is it appropriate for me to be helpful or to be generous at this time? Maybe no, just wait. The person, maybe give them a bit of time. They'll be a child, and they'll work it out themselves, rather than rescuing them from their distress now, and they never get to learn how to work it out, or how to do it themselves, or how to put in the right effort. Or yes, I will help them, but I'll help them to this degree, in this way, and then I'll step back, knowing when it's appropriate to stop helping. So if you've a mother's got her 55-year-old son, and she's still doing stuff for him, it's like, maybe it should have stopped 30 years ago. So wisdom and compassion need to go together, and we see that in what has been done to societies and culture in the name of, oh, we're going to help you, we're going to save you, we're going to give you this. But the culture or society says, we don't need it. We don't want it. We're not interested in your ideas or your beliefs or your t-shirts or your plastic whatever. We like doing our traditional way. But so compassion without wisdom can be really, really problematic. Is that sort of what?
And it's something to do with the Brahma Viharas too.
Yeah. So equanimity is the fourth and the highest of those divine abiding. So metta, which is also there, kindness being the first one. So kindness, which is a general way of relating and operating in the world, so with kindness. And then in special situations where we or someone or an animal may be in pain, then modified kindness into compassion. I feel for you, and maybe I can help. The third one is the second one's karuna, compassion. The third one is mudita, which is joy with and for others. So sort of I'm happy that you're happy, as opposed to I'm I'm unhappy that you're happy. I'm resentful. I'm jealous. I want to be you. But more like, I'm so happy that you're happy. I'm so happy that you've had this good fortune. I'm so happy that you got the job that I was going for.
Mhm.
So to have that positive feeling with others. And then the fourth one is upekkha, equanimity. Any other thoughts or comments, questions? Sebastian.
In my sort of like in a work day, I can tend to get like just completely absorbed in the tasks that I'm doing, and I can definitely experience like the uses of the paramitas in certain moments of my day, but they tend to be like more still moments.
Mm.
And then in sort of like an 8 hour chunk where I'm feeling like the responsibility and the weight on my shoulders, I'm engaged and rarely stop. And I can see the great value in having maybe moments that I can be sort of a little bit more at peace and just maybe not reflective, but just to slow down and to appreciate those things. Do you have any sort of like recommendations as to being like skillful in that bracket of time where I feel like it's all just like go, 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 go?
Well, even afterwards to then reflect, okay, so in my day, which is go, 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 what virtues am I using? And it might be, well, I'm giving very much of my time and my energy to the task. I'm engaging in wholesome activity, moral. I'm renouncing doing other things. I'm so focused on doing this go, go, go task for maybe someone else. So I'm giving up my opinions, my judgments, what I might otherwise want to be doing, and I'm just doing this. I'm engaging wisdom to do the task properly in terms of might be more just worldly wisdom, but whatever the task might be, I'm just using my understanding and wisdom of how to get this task done properly. Energy, so lots of energy. Patience in getting the task done. Being honest with yourself so that you're not sort of fooling yourself around, I can do this or I can't do this. And resolve to get the task done, resolve commitment. Kindness to yourself in terms of not overdoing it, and equanimity, maintaining that calm composure. So you're using all 10 without the need to sort of reflect on which ones you're using. But afterwards you go, okay, in my day, which ones did I use? I used all of them, and I mainly used a lot of energy, and the task was challenging. So I used quite a lot of patience. I didn't get upset with my co-workers, and I was using equanimity to go, wow, yes, they get used.
Absolutely, yeah.
And in a way that ideally these become your default, your normal way of being, so that sure, it's great to reflect on what you're using, or even like, okay, I need to use extra kindness with this because I'm doing it with somebody that irritates me, and so I'm going to be patient and kind. But for the most part, they just become part of how you just ordinarily act and engage.
Often I make the thought that it's just like got to be caught in the moment. I've got to apply, like generosity to this situation in the moment. But that's very helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, it can be more subtle.
Yeah,
more subtle.
Yeah.
Even like just giving yourself to the task and I'm giving myself to this task. And
thank you.
Brendan?
Yeah, John, just continuing on from that, I'm just wondering if because trying to remember all 10 is difficult. So if we have an approach of just trying to be present in that moment and reflecting on, okay, how can I make wise decisions in this moment that are beneficial for myself and others?
Yeah.
Is that a way to kind of simplify it and just try to always act wisely in the moment?
Yeah, so even saying to yourself, well, which are the qualities that are really important for me? And yes, wisdom, and might be depending upon who you are, what you're doing. But there may be 2 or 3 qualities that you always tend to use. And even in the beginning of the day, getting up saying, okay, another day to put in good effort because it's quite challenging, or another day to be very generous and helpful, another day to be really kind and caring because that's what I do with my work. And so even just reminding and or at the end of the day, okay, another date that I was able to be really helpful and kind, caring, supportive of other people, got some really good things done. And so even honoring oneself, so to speak, in reflecting upon the virtues that you've used, sense of feeling joy in that. My life is worthwhile.
Also, I notice my personal experience that if you are in that moment where you are in the now, your approach will be the correct one, whatever the situation you're in. So you follow that. Not only you follow it, something will take you to follow that. So perhaps we can call it energy that you've been building with your efforts. Yeah.
Mm. Also with these virtues to see if you have a particular character that is more one than another. So you might go, yes, well, I'm a very generous person. And as part of feeling good about yourself, recognizing and honoring that, or it might be, yes, I'm very able to remain calm and equanimous in difficult situations and not take sides or get caught up or become distressed. So recognizing what qualities one has and using them, and also even where there might be a weakness. Okay, I'm not very patient, so okay, I need to focus on developing more patience in situations rather than just getting reactive or trying to get it done and sort of stressing everyone else out. So it becomes that's part of the working on oneself, so to speak, in developing these virtues. So they're highly practical, highly applicable, and really, really appropriate for everybody to make use of. You don't need to remember them all off by heart. If you do, that's great. If you want to get a tattoo down your arm, a worthwhile tattoo, finally. Or a bracelet that has them on as a reminder.
John, wisdom seems to be, for me, one of those words that I have a slightly difficult relationship with in terms of accessing the meaning of it, because it's it's like a grandiose word. It's almost like unattainable. Like enlightenment seems like almost too big for what it is. So like with patience, for example, I might often meet people who are displaying patience, or I can notice some patience in myself. Wisdom seems to be something that's a bit harder to sort of see out in the world. Maybe today in this room, I can see everyone's made a wise choice to come together and be together, and a lot of wisdom of words and knowledge coming from you, John. But so I sort of have that, like, trying to understand what wisdom is. Reflecting on that, I see that, actions and choices, I can see that's sort of wise or skillful.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I look at my son and he's making very wise choices around how he sort of looks after his health or choices with food, for example. So I see that they're sort of breaking it down into like wise action and choices seems to be a bit easier to understand.
Yeah.
And then reflecting on what you were saying about energy and time, it seems like wisdom needs a lot of space or a lot of time. There's a sort of a clarity or a clear discerning aspect to wisdom, and also, you know, requires a fair bit of energy to sort of activate. But I was just wondering how can I sort of, does wisdom relate to sort of consciousness or conscious awareness, or you know, is it a natural state of being that sort of comes around when there's time and space and energy present?
Sure. Well, certainly if there's more time, energy, and space available, then we have a bit more time to reflect and to contemplate and to look what has happened and why it happened like that, and so if that was helpful or not, and what could have been more helpful, etc. So that's the getting of wisdom. In the notes, I mentioned there's 3 ways to wisdom, and that's on page 20. The Buddha spoke about 3 ways to wisdom. One is through thinking or contemplating. So why is this so? What would be the helpful thing? What wasn't helpful there? What would be good to do next time? The next one is studying and learning. So maybe that's where reading some text that is words of wisdom, like spiritual texts and discourses and some wise words. And so by reading and learning, so yeah, that one start to understand things a bit more, and sort of say, yeah, that was a wise thing to say, or that's a wise way of looking at that. And the third way is through meditation. So when the mind is very calm and clear and present and powerful, then we can have insight into the nature of things, and particularly seeing the 3 characteristics of all things: impermanence, so things change, flux. The things are the unsatisfactory nature of things because they change. They're not stable and sure. They can be a source of stress and suffering, especially if we're holding on to things, wanting them not to change. And also that there's no permanent self to be found in things that change. So there's 3 characteristics of existence. And so that's where meditation leads into insight, understanding, and that understanding then is applied as wisdom in how we sort of engage. Certainly one might say some words and someone says, oh, that's very wise, and okay, but or even just wise actions or how we live our life might be simple. They live their life wisely. They don't overdo things. They live more simply, or they kind and generous. So expression of wisdom through behaviors. And so in that way, using all these qualities would be an expression of wisdom, as opposed to the opposites of them, the negative qualities.
Thank you.
And as I said in the beginning, one doesn't have to think, oh, well, wisdom is something that belongs to a certain sort of type of person, and is sort of old philosopher type wise sort of elders. It's like, well, no, a child might say something just because they can see things really clearly, and they say something that's quite wise because it's not coming from a whole lot of extra conditioning and abstraction of mind. They sort of see it very directly. It's like, wow, that's wise. Sam?
I guess I just wanted to share like a personal experience. I guess like I go through periods of time where it's hard to actually, when I try to bring these kind of elements in, these virtues, it's actually quite difficult when I'm trying. But when I start to implement practices like meditation or being in nature more, or like doing things, a lot of them naturally just start to happen more. And so that's something that I've been, you know, sometimes I'm in places where I'm very distracted and not creating time for myself or things like that. And and I'll struggle to implement them even though I'm trying. But and then sometimes, it's just like a practice sometimes helps to bring them on. And you're not trying, they just start to surface a bit more. I just want to share that.
Yeah, because in a way, sure, it's good to be aware of these qualities or virtues. It's good to know what they are, to see where you can use them and apply them, recognizing that you're applying them, see the worth of that. But ideally that they're not coming from ego or self. So that more of a, when you're relaxed, when you're mindful, then these as underlying qualities of our psyche or being come forth. Sort of a wholesome, skillful aspect of our being. And then maybe afterwards recognizing, okay, yeah, I got that done really easily because I was quite patient or quite focused and using quite a lot of resolve and commitment to get that task done. That's why it went easy today and not last week. But lifelong learning, so ongoing learning and the ongoing development application of wisdom in our life. Again, wisdom's just a word, but we could use the word skillful or wholesome or helpful, things that are helpful that are supportive for self and others, not causing or adding to the stress and distress that people are experiencing. And certainly keeping up the meditation practice. So keep on meditating. We need to finish up now, and so let's do a short 2 or 3 minute meditation with a dedication of merit. Buddhist practice gifting the goodness, good karma to others. So just settling into our meditative mode, eyes gently closed. A couple of mindful breaths just to relax, come back to center. A sense of feeling present, being here, being now, being aware. A being aware, an aware being. Simply sitting, being, breathing, knowing. And allowing the feeling of joy, feeling a sense of inner joy with how we've spent this morning up until this time, engaging mind, speech, and body in a very wholesome, skillful way, a wise way of being. Being here in this place, practicing meditation, being mindful, a very wholesome, skillful thing for human beings to be doing, cultivating the quality of our conscious awareness, clarifying and purifying mind, heart, directing, dedicating, devoting the mind, heart to clarity, to wisdom, to kindness, to freedom. So feeling good for what we've done, appreciating our efforts, wholesome karma, generating wholesome karma, which becomes merit, good quality, developing a stock or store of good energy, merit. And as we say, we live and abide according to our merits, and we need to continue to do good things to have that resource. So we're not down on our merits or our merits have run out. For continuing to do good things, developing these spiritual virtues, the 10 Paramita, and also appreciating that we can gift that good energy, our merit, to others. Even as a dedication, we can dedicate the goodness we've created through our practice today to others. So maybe bringing to mind one, two, or a number of people, or even animals that are close to you, beings that you like to gift this goodness to. So bringing them into our mind space, maybe seeing them in our mind's eye, and just imagining that we can breathe out, particularly through our chest area, the center of our chest, that spiritual heart area. Breathing out this heartfelt good energy, merit to those persons or people or animals that we love and care for. Maybe even someone that maybe needs some healthy extra attention. Breathing out, giving, sharing, caring this good quality with them, that they may be well, happy, free from pain and illness, free from issue, living their life well. Breathing into and out from our heart center, gifting this goodness. May you be well, happy, free from pain, issue, illness, living your life well. Gifting this goodness, this good energy, this good vibe. And feeling as if they are receiving this good vibe energy, this good feeling from us, this benevolence, this goodwill, that we might even see them smiling, a quiet smile that we know that says that they have received this good vibe, this goodwill feeling from us. Breathing into and out from our heart center. And now also sharing this good energy with everyone that's been part of our meditative morning, including those that have been connecting online, not able to be here. May everyone that's been part of this retreat morning on our Vassa Retreat, may you all be well, happy, free from pain, issue, illness, living your life well. So we breathe out this good energy to everyone here, everyone that's been connecting in, wishing them well, particularly in their meditation practice. And as we breathe in, we can feel that good energy from others towards us as we're part of this whole group. Breathing into, breathing out from our heart center, sharing this good vibe energy. May you all be well, happy, free from pain, issue, illness, living your life well. So giving and also receiving this good feeling, this wholesome wish or aspiration. And then lastly, to ourselves, even giving ourselves that gift of well-being. May I too be well, happy, free from pain, issue, illness, living my life well. May my life be a blessing to others. So giving ourselves that that wish of well-being, feeling good within. May I too receive this gift of goodness, this kindness, care, friendliness, support to myself, that I may be well, happy, free from pain, issue, illness, living my life well, that my life may be a blessing to others. Breathing in, breathing out, feeling that inner sense of joy, joy and well-being. Joy in being. With motivation to continue to be mindful and practice meditation on a regular basis. Developing also these spiritual virtues. And when you feel ready to end the meditation, just taking a deep breath and slowly opening our eyes to finish. So thank you for being here today, sharing your presence. Thank you for listening and sharing comments and questions. Thank you for your dana to help support keeping us going. And also those that haven't received or weren't here last time to get the retreat notes that I send out on email. If you haven't got them, just let Pip know so that we've got your email address and I can send those notes out. And hopefully we can see you next time. The next retreat day is on the 7th of September, the third of the 4 retreat days in the Vassa period. And also to mention that the Thursday night meditation group here, we're looking into these qualities as well, so that in between the months, we then have a bit of a remind, recap, review, and look into these qualities and talk about them as well. So that's on a Thursday night, which is also available on Zoom for those that can't get here.
YouTube.
And YouTube on YouTube. So we have a YouTube channel called
Ratnagiri Meditations.
Ratnagiri Meditation Sangha.
Are they live? Can we watch them on the Thursday night as
It can be live, and then also if you can't get here, then also as a YouTube video to rewatch as well.
What's it called again?
Ratnagiri, which is the name of this place, Ratnagiri Meditation Sangha. Good. So thanks for coming and enjoy the rest of the day, the Sunday. Have a good weekend. See you next time.